You're listening to Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, how are y'all doing today out in the great podcast land? It's going to be American Legion Day and DFW Day, too, apparently, because y'all are dual members. But our friend Sandy Mason's brought some friends with them to talk about Veterans Day affairs, also veteran care opportunities, the impact of the government's situation, what it got going on. But these are two new friends of the neighborhood, so please, you introduce yourselves to our listening audience.
Hello, I'm Deborah Bryant. I am an Army Nurse Corps and just joined the VFW and Army, or the American Legion, about 4 or 5 months ago. So I'm new to the group.
So you're the American Legion's homecoming queen. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay. They haven't tasked me with that yet, but
well, why not? But you served in Afghanistan, is what Sandy told me.
Yes.
Well, that must have been thrilling. I guess I don't. It's. I'm sure it was some pretty hard times.
yeah, I volunteered for everything. I was Army Reserve for 14 years. I joined at age 47 and volunteered to go to Afghanistan just to, I'm an OR nurse, and so that was a critical need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was in Afghanistan and just did what I could do.
And we have Todd.
Ronald Todd.
Okay. I thought that Todd was the first name, but
But Todd, I go with Todd.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And you served with both Army and Navy, right? That's an interesting combination.
Yes, sir.
So you didn't get enough of the Army. You said, let's try the Navy and see what we could do there.
Right.
Okay. So when did you serve?
I went in December 1964 into the Army. Mm-hmm. And I shipped over to Nam in April of 65. And I did a year in Nam, left from there, went to finish my hitch out in Germany. And then I got out for a few years out of the Army. Then I joined the Navy for 19 years.
Couldn't get enough, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't get enough. I went back some more of it.
Well, I was telling Sandy earlier about my father, who just passed. We just buried, he was interned. He was cremated. They put him he will be on a shelf, as they call it. And I did not know there's that many of those out there. There's a bunch, okay?
Yeah, but anyway, the National Cemetery has a nice setup for
yes, it really does. And so he was interned on October 10th. And I'm telling you, that ceremony will get you every time. It's really, really moving. My mom wanted everything to be a very brief thing, that she didn't want a big to do. And we already had the funeral, so all the eulogies and stuff had already taken place then. So it was just our immediate family. And it lasted about 15 minutes. They play taps, and then we had an honor guard unfold the flag and shake it, and then refold it, gave it to my mother with the gratitude of a grateful nation. I mean, it clutches you. It really does.
Yes, it does.
And of course, you drive through that cemetery, and they have all those headstones as well as shelving. And I don't know. It's worth a visit, I think, for people, even if they don't know anybody in there, because it's a great testimonial to what people will do for our country.
Yeah, I've been to several of the national cemeteries. I'm tell you, next to Arlington, Dallas, the Fort Worth National Cemetery is absolutely amazing up here.
And it was kind of a nice little coincidence. I teach at Dallas Baptist, so it's right next door. So anytime I want to go visit my father's spot, or my friend, old timers in Burleson will remember John Mitchell, who was a VHS colleague of mine. He died 2006, and he was a Vietnam veteran. My dad's experiences, a little prior to yours, his big experience was the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he jokes that he was sitting in that plane waiting to jump, and his joke was that when Fidel Castro found out that Leon Allard was on that plane, he said, "We could have called this off right now." And so that's why. So my dad takes credit for solving the Cuban Missile Crisis, but he was he told me, and I didn't know this until I was well into my adult years. This whole episode that he had, he was sitting in the plane, full gear, ready to roll, and they sat there for about 24 hours, and that's. They couldn't sleep or anything like that because it's, a lot of adrenaline. So, but then they got the call to stand down and we'll call you later and that kind of thing. Somebody's just dropped in. This is a Facebook posting, WM7236. It must be a friend of y'all's. I don't know who that would be, but, maybe a little.
Could be women. My daughter.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if that's her, but she is a Wendy.
Okay. Okay, maybe that's your daughter.
She was born in
Okay.
72, but I don't know what the 36 is like. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, good for her. I'm going to run through the sponsors real quick. And these are probably people because they make all this possible. They keep me on the air. They keep Josh in that fancy car he drives. And something like that.
I'm sorry, what car?
Yeah, that fancy. Oh, yeah. Is not that Mercedes not yours? Okay. All right.
I wish.
Yeah, our place. I was there this morning. I bet y'all been to our place.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there. The men and I, we didn't even bother trying to solve the world's problems. We just talked football the whole time. We have a lot of college football fans. And so we didn't say, we're not going to solve what's going on in Washington, so let's just talk about football. And so our place restaurant is a great place to do that. The waitress has served us. We do this every other Thursday, and she served us numerous times, and she just went around the table and said, here, I know what your orders are. And so we didn't have to look at the menus or anything. So, and Gina's Pizza also, another great place to go do businesses. When I do business, like to talk about potential sponsors or just want to meet a sponsor there to, keep them up to date, that's where I do it because it's a great place to do business and the pizza's really good. And it's a good place you can watch the game, have a beer, have a sandwich or some sort. Their meatball sandwiches are really good. Also, my friend John Williams at Old Pro Roofing, just saw him just yesterday, 817-734-2756. The newly engaged John Williams. Sorry, ladies, he's now off the market. But Old Pro Roofing, do the job for you. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, which I always have to believe it to see it. There's your
That's my
identifier.
daughter.
Okay, WM723.
She's in Round Rock.
Round Rock. Okay, well, good for her. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, they back to John since they're paying for this. He inspects my roof every summer. And I don't have any problems with the roof because he told me. And that's the thing about John is they're not going to try to upsell you or whatever. And so when the rain comes and, the guys come through the neighborhood looking for roofing jobs, okay, I get it. People make a living. But you want to deal with somebody you can find later. And this is a Burleson business. Their headquarters is in Old Town, but they'll do all over the DFW area. So, and the inspection costs you nothing. And if there's nothing to be fixed, he'll tell you. He's not going to try to upsell you or try to get you on some sort of idea that if you don't do anything soon, your roof's going to fall in. So anyway, thank you to John. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly over at the Wethington Agency. He's the premier real estate agent in Johnson County, 817-781-0546. Do y'all live in Johnson County? Yeah,
I do, yes.
Do. Okay. It's been booming, right? How long have you been in this area?
I moved here in January. My son lives here. He's been here all of his life.
Who's your son? What's his name?
His name is Brian McDaniel.
Brian McDaniel.
He's M5.
You're kidding.
Welding and construction.
Right. I don't know him. Sorry. Anyway.
Well, he's a nice guy to know.
I'm sure he is.
You need any welding or construction, he's your guy.
Okay, good. I'll remember that. Anyway, 7-8. I'm sorry. It's the coffee. 817-781-0546. Give him a holler, and he's going to tell you about your house. He'll help you sell it. He does a lot of business in Johnson County. He tells me that Godley and Joshua are just blowing up. So, and I've lived, yes. How long have you lived in the Burleson area?
Well, I moved back to this area about 11 years ago.
Right.
And shortly thereafter, I got engaged.
Oh, yeah?
And this coming October the 31st, I better get this right.
Right, you better.
10 years. We've been married 10 years.
You got married on Halloween?
No.
Well, it's October 31st.
Well, November 1st.
November 1st. Okay. Okay. All right. Good.
I told you I'd get it right.
All right. Yep. Well, I'm sure she'll forgive you.
Yeah.
But I've lived here since 91, and I taught here 3 years prior to that, too. So I've been part of this community since 88. And I can tell you it's totally different than what I moved into, but I like a great deal of what's happened here. We have a lot more to choose from. But back in the day, you had very limited choices, and so most people went to Fort Worth. Now you don't really have to go to Fort Worth for anything. So, and that's a really good thing. But anyway, Jeff will help you with all that, 817-781-0546. Also, Tiffany Jane, Local Life. That'll be coming out, magazine, in about 10 days. She does really good work. This advertising magazine goes to 30,000 homes. A lot of the retailers have extra copies for you to look at while you're shopping or waiting or whatever else. I remember I was getting my oil changed, and I was sitting in there. It was over Christian Brothers, and I was sitting in there. There you are, and no, it wasn't an oil change. It was an inspection. I was sitting there waiting. I get my oil change at Castrol down on John Jones. Sorry, I didn't want to slight you guys over at Castrol. That's where I get my oil changed. Anyway, I'm getting confused. But anyway, Local Life magazine, also locallifetx.com if you want to see the website. And my friend Al Bass at Bass Printing, all the stuff you'll ever want on any kind of material you want, hats and shirts and cups and pins. Bass Printing and Consulting Services will take care of all of that. It's here in Burleson. You can call them at my friend Al, 817-616-8761, or Alric, that's ALRICK, at bassprinting.com. And Bass Printing and Consulting Services will set you up with business cards and brochures and mailers and hats, cups, T-shirts. You fill in the blank, he can do it. I think that's it. We have a couple of charity announcements at the end. I think Nana, I bet that's not me, so every one of y'all is this Nana, I assume is you.
I'm Nana. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Baron. Hi, Lily.
All right. Well, good. So you're a celebrity. You're going to bring in a bunch of viewers. All right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. What do you want to talk about first, Andy? You've been here before.
I'm going to warn you first off. When you put some veterans in a room, you're going to get stories. So
well, that's fine.
We'll be all right.
I'm sure that's what I have been in a veterans meeting before, and there's a lot of conversation.
We had some fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I haven't been in them quite some time, but I went with a friend, and they had a small bar. It was, beer mostly and that kind of thing. So there's just people telling their stories. And I guess that's what really one of the good things about these kind of outfits are, is that they provide a means for veterans to talk about their stories.
Yeah, we get around and talk. I think let's just roll into what's going on with the VA and some of the services that are happening. We had, everybody knows we had this government shutdown going on, and we're 22 days or whatever we're into it. One of the issues that has come out of that is for veterans is some elective procedures are being rescheduled. I've had a couple of issues where I've put in for prescriptions to be mailed to me, and I'm having to actually go to the pharmacy to pick them up because they're having some issues getting deliveries done. But for emergency care, for primary care visits, those are still going on. People who are on a disability rating, they're still getting paid right now for veterans payments. So none of that's been affected, but there are a few things that some of our veterans here locally have been told, hey, you've got elective surgery for ortho that's being rescheduled, or we had one of our gentlemen have a nuclear stress test getting rescheduled.
That's elective?
Apparently so.
Oh, good heavens.
So, doesn't
make any sense.
It doesn't, but, if they're looking for a way to save $1, I guess it's unfortunate. But other than that, we're really fortunate here to have the Fort Worth Outpatient Clinic available for most of our veterans. And, of course, Hughley and Harris Health Systems both do a wonderful job of taking care of our local veterans. So
now, in my day, I bet you can guess I went to Baylor, right? And at the huge VA hospital down in Waco.
Yeah.
Is that's still the main one, isn't it? Temple, okay.
Temple and Waco, and of course Dallas is that. But for regions, Waco is really a good regional hospital.
It is, and I remember back in the day, so to speak, Baylor had a lot of connections with the VA hospital, and they would send a lot of people that were involved in healthcare related majors to go and work out there, or be interns, or observers and things like that. So then they said it was touching, actually moving. Now, fortunately for my father's sake, his health was pretty good up until about the last 6 months. And when talking about veterans benefits, he got some, but he really didn't need the full-on care that a lot of the other veterans did. He didn't have any issues coming out of his service. All right. And so when he was in the reserves for quite some time, and And so what was good about that, though, is the fact is that my sister and I, when I say we were raised in a military home, it wasn't so much like we were up at 5:30 with Reveille doing calisthenics or any of that business. but we were raised in a home where certain military values were stressed. Like show on time, pay attention, do your work, eat everything on your plate. That kind of thing. Don't waste food.
Back in the good old days.
That's why I grew up. You didn't waste food.
No. Well, my dad.
And if Mama
grew up poor.
cooked it, you eat it. If you don't like it, okay.
Yeah. Well,
There was no fast
bad.
food.
no, we had very little of that in our house. But my dad grew up poor, and so we didn't waste anything. And my mom, I wouldn't say she was poor growing up, but it was very, very working class. And so when my dad was doing pretty well in his career, we could do other things, but we didn't because that was just not our way. I mean, we wore our jeans till they wore out, and that kind of thing. And
we grew up with families that were frugal because what they didn't have, they had to create. So my parents and grandparents were like that. It's crazy.
I didn't get to wear jeans because my dad was from the north and my mom was from the south. And the people up in the north, when you had jeans on, that meant you were really poor. I mean, we weren't really poor, but we had to, as far as I know. But my daddy, I didn't get to have any jeans until I was a teenager.
really, how about that?
Because dungarees were just...
Mr. Todd, where are you from? Are you from this area?
I'm originally from California.
Okay.
My parents moved here in 54, 55. My dad went to work for GM. And they rented a place out there called, used to be out there, it's not out there anymore, Boswell Dairy. So I grew up on dairy life.
Okay. That's an early morning, isn't it?
Yeah. And I walked a good little distance across to Hanley Elementary School. But it's no longer there. It's been tore down since then.
Yeah.
And then later on, we moved into Arlington. And I grew up in Arlington.
I grew up. Okay.
I attended Sam Houston High School.
Still there.
Yeah.
Well, it's what's interesting about particularly the veteran service is that I don't know any veteran that their experience in the military isn't one of the most profound things in their lives. How it shaped them and how they thought. And that was the case of my dad. I'm not going to say he was a wandering soul or anything like that, but he was 19 and his mother just died, and he really didn't know what to do and all this other stuff. And my aunt, his sister, basically said, "You're coming down to Abilene, going to Hardin Simmons, and you're going to join the ROTC," and that gave him direction. It gave him some educational benefits, and of course, then he goes into the military, and they benefited that from all his life. In so many different ways. So that's why I was a really big fan when I was teaching at the high school. I was not just a fan of ROTC, which you have some pictures of, but also when the recruiters would come in. And I would see a former student, I thought, 3 years earlier, said, "This boy is we're going to see him under a bridge or something like that." And then I see him in a Marine uniform or Army or Navy, Air Force. They had all four. And they're standing up straight, look you in the eye, shake your hand like a man. I thought, this is what I liked about the military, as much as anything else, is that they really gave people direction and purpose. So I'm a big fan.
I mean, the first time that the day that, or I guess within the week that I came back from Afghanistan, I went to Home Depot or Lowe's, and I just spent almost 2 hours just walking up and down the halls, just looking at everything. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Get reaccustomed to the surroundings. It happens when we've been deployed for a while and you come back. It doesn't matter what year you served. There's always that. You got to get reaccustomed to the surroundings. And of course, your family's changed some. Other people around you have changed. So you have to just kind of readapt, but that's part of it.
Now, all of y'all are members of the American Legion, right? And also the VFW.
Right.
Right, I'm commander of the VFW.
Really? And where do they meet?
We meet out there on
920.
920, yeah.
Yeah, the VFW post.
3409.
Yeah,
There we go. All right. See, he
Yeah.
got the pictures.
on County Road 920. It's right just within a few hundred yards of the Johnson County Precinct 2 barn, where 1902 and 920 are at. Just continue just a couple hundred yards, and we're right there next to them.
And so you have your meetings, you say, on the third Saturday?
Third Saturday of the month.
And you'll feed them, too, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a breakfast, public open breakfast. Veterans and their families welcome to come out. Starts at 9 a.m. Meetings start at 11. Every Wednesday, we have a called Coffee Club out there. Starts at 8:30 in the morning. Coffee, donuts, and lots of shared stories. And we're not serving the world problems, but we certainly talk to veterans about what is available in the area.
So y'all have veterans that come to these things looking for direction on services and whatnot, okay? It's not just a...
Yes.
It's not a social
Yes,
club
we do.
only. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to address the
Please.
young lady across from me here when she came on board here, 4 months ago?
About
Something
that.
like that. Anyway, I made the comment about needing a notary. She did it. She's certified notary. But the point I was getting at is when I was commander in Stephenville, and at one time I was a notary. Next thing I knew, we started getting some new members. But what I'm trying to do is any veteran that has DD 214,
Right.
and
yes.
bring a witness with them, they can get papers notarized on Wednesdays
Okay.
during
How about
Coffee
that?
Club.
And, it's more important than you might think because getting a notary is kind of tough sometimes. But I tell you, that DD 214, my dad made sure that was on his inscription and that was in a safe deposit box at the bank, and now it's in a fireproof vault or a safe, a small one in our house or my mother's house. And I guarantee you, if there was a fire in the house, that'd be the first thing it goes for. Forget the kids. I want my DD 214.
Well, you can also, whenever you get, if you're in Johnson County, you can go to Cleburne and you can have it put on file. And so I did that, I guess, a couple of months ago.
Well, that I know that's like mandatory if you want any kind of veterans help. I mean,
Yeah.
without that, it's going to be kind of tough.
If you're going to be getting into with VA benefits or anything, you'll have to have either your DD 214 or, of course, active duty people who are needing to get into VA or their families. There's some options there. But right now, any of their veterans that need a DD 214, we can also help them on who to contact, whether they're in the what branch of the military they were in, because there's different ways to go about it. But you can also get a CD of your military file now sent to you that'll have all of your records combined and put in, and that's a great thing to have too.
I believe my sister had that taken care of for my dad. Even though my dad was very well prepared, not just emotionally, for his passing, but he took care of all the details about 10 years ago. He had this bucket book, as he called it, and it had all the, counts and who to call and all this other stuff. And they would keep it up to date when things change. My mom is still going through a lot of hair pulling and carrying on, dealing with all the aspects when one passes. Even if you're prepared, you're still going to have to, get down to it with some of these government agencies or with the insurance companies or whatever else. Now, Mr. Todd, the people that come to this VFW, though, I know they're there to have some coffee and donuts and be with people that understand their situation. But actually, a lot of them are they coming because they want to know where they can get medical help, psychological help, maybe legal help and things of that nature?
Well, we have a service officer, and I must say, well, he's a good service officer. But all of us have some kind of experience that we can share with that person or with other people. How to go about doing this. Just like Sandy mentioned, and to go about files, when you go in and file for your e-file, that'll take you all the way back to the first day you went in the service. I was surprised. I looked at that. I got it. I'm looking at papers I signed back in... See, I got to get this right now. 64.
So, being a veteran of two branches of the service, do you have to deal with both of them differently, or just one take care of it? You have to deal with the Navy, and then you have to deal with the Army for the same thing, practically.
Well, no, yes and no.
Okay.
The Army is where I took my basic training. I was out of the Army for a while because of my prior service and everything. I went into the Navy. But I started out with the reserve program. What I served it was with the reserves. But I've been on and off aircraft carriers. I've been to Fallon, Nevada several times at different places, and then they deployed me to Sicily.
Oh, that must have been interesting.
That was very interesting.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, I've been deployed at different places.
Well, my uncle was actually stationed in Italy in mid-70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in a car wreck 30 years ago. So, but he was in Italy, and so he had some souvenirs, you might say, stuff that they brought back home to my aunt, which she still has. But now, in your situation, you said you didn't join, Debbie. You didn't join until
I was 47.
Yeah, so you were, a private nurse or whatever. You worked at a hospital, I assume, or something like that.
Yeah, I had 14 years of nursing experience of the OR. I was critical care or critical needs, and so I was able to join at 47, and I went into the Army Reserves in San Antonio.
But you also were stationed overseas. And
Everything that every time that for critical care nursing or critical needs, we were managed by a place in Georgia, and they were OR nurse, which I was, and ICU nurses, and the CRNAs, the nurse anesthetists. They were all managed by the group in Georgia. And so every time my recruiter would, or not my recruiter, but somebody would call up and say, hey, we need a person to go here. So I volunteered for everything I went to. And I've got 5 DD-214s.
5?
Because every time I come off of active duty, you get a DD-214.
So you get 5 times the benefits then, right?
I wish.
No, it don't work that way.
Did it work? Okay.
It doesn't work that way. So, yeah. So, I came in as a first lieutenant, and my first duty station was Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
That's where I was born.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in 1962 there. Yes, at Womack Army Hospital.
Womack. That's where I went.
I don't acknowledge that what they call it before they changed the name. It's Fort Bragg. It's then, now, and still should be. I know that Mr. Biden changed the name for a couple of years or something silly like that. But I just
It's still it's just like Fort Hood.
Yeah.
I moved from Fort Hood to Afghanistan. It's still Fort Hood.
It's still Fort Hood.
Yeah.
But, my dad, his jokes about, how the Army hospital was, he said, my mom goes in for delivery, okay? And that day, they're having a big parade, a dress parade for the Indonesian president, Sukarno. And my dad is supposed to be part of it in his uniform. He goes to his captain. He was a lieutenant at the time, and goes to the captain, well, my wife's having a baby. And he goes, well, are you having the baby? No, to get your ass out there. And, so
Pretty much.
Yeah. And so he, after a couple of days, mom's let out of the hospital, and they hand him a bill for like $7. And he goes, what's this for? Well, it's for the lunches she ate. Well, if I'd have known that, I would have packed her a sandwich, But,
Well, I didn't get to see any of that because I was in the OR, with the closed doors and the red strip on the floor. You don't pass that. So I would, I didn't get to wear my uniform a lot. I got to wear my PT because I was going in and changing into scrubs, and that's where I spent my day.
Well, there's still some pictures, and we got a chance to look at them recently because, when we were going through the pictures for what we wanted to show for my dad's funeral, there's a lot of pictures, black and white photos of his service days, and where they lived in. The housing they lived in was probably about the size of this room. I mean, it was small. And my dad would joke about how they must have been desperate because he would, to take him in the Army and all that he'd have to wear. He was a jumper, among other things. And when he was in reserves, he became a Green Beret as well. But he was a jumper in the 19th Special Ops Division. And he said they had to put rocks in his pockets so the chute would open. And he was thin. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's a little reminiscent here. But you send us some pictures, Sandy. So Josh will run through them.
Yeah, we got some pictures from different
that's
things.
a good one.
One of the things with the veterans groups, we're all got different backgrounds, different things we deal with, and in the community. And one of them for American Legion is where our youth programs, and we work with the Air Force Junior ROTC program here at Burleson School Systems. This picture is from this past April when the seniors were all recognized. The Parents Club rewarded them these backpacks, and they were all given different items in there, and being able to go on and carry forward. It's amazing. It's about half and half of that group right there that are going into service or going to college. Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate that we have such a positive outcome from our local ROTC.
I can vouch for that because as a teacher in Burleson High School for 28 years, or the system for 28 years, I saw ROTC really change some young people because what a lot of the counselors would do, if we had a kid that was wandering off the path, a little bit, they would try to get him involved in something. And ROTC, particularly with Sergeant Mims there, and he was there through several different commandants.
Commanders.
Commanders, okay. Commanders. They would take these young people and give them some direction and discipline.
Yeah. From the minute that program started in 1980 at Burleson, I'm original alumni, so it's always been near and dear to me, but the instructors have always gone out of their way to not only work with the youth and the cadets that are in the program, but around the campus as well. We used to go to the middle school and we give speeches or do meet and greets just for people to understand what's going on with the program as they have opportunity to move up. And if you're out in a town or doing things, we'd always do things, football games or whatever.
Well, I was also head of the student council for a long, long time, and I always tried to involve the ROTC as best I could, like in the parades, in homecoming, and special events like that, because I wanted them to feel like that they not only were part of the school, but also, they could show off the pride of what they're doing. Yeah. And it really helps. They were very good to deal with. And so that's one among many reasons why I'm such a fan.
Well, let's see what we got next year.
Yeah, what do you got, bud?
I remember what order they came in.
Well, you'll know.
Okay, so the Blue Thunder Air Rifle team at the ROTC program, both the Legion and the VFW have been big supporters of these guys. Well, we keep them in materials. This team this year has 9 competitors that have been signed up for the civilian marksmanship program. They get ready to do their postal shootings in December. That's part of the junior shooting sports program. Burleson Sporter team has been the state champion here in Texas 4 out of the last 5 years.
Is that right?
And we had one of our young ladies 3 years ago now, Madison Landers, she was a national champion for Air Force Junior ROTC nationwide.
Sweet.
She's now serving. Nice. She's now serving in the Army Signal Corps.
Well, all right. What do you got? Yeah.
This is American Legion. Was last December. We had a Christmas dinner down at Napoli's in Joshua. And
I've been there a couple of times. That's a good place.
Yeah. And the owners down there are wonderful for us. They do a really good job, and they let us use that back room and have a good time.
I've been there 2 or 3 times over. Normally when I go, I stay in Burleson mostly, but I have some friends in Joshua, and I like Italian a lot. So they said, you'll like this place. And so we've done it 2 or 3 times. So there you go. A little free shout out to Napoli's there.
Yeah. And this is VFW Christmas party last year, Todd?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And it's always, with the host, the VFW having their own posts, they host inside and set up and do different things for the group there. And part of the membership, and wives and family get to come in and socialize, and it's a family when you get together like that.
Do you have widows or widowers of service people?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have in the auxiliary for both of them. There's opportunities for family members where there's Sons of the American Legion or auxiliary, VFW auxiliary youth programs. So there's always opportunity for family members of veterans to be involved still.
So even if the service member passes, that doesn't mean
they're still welcome.
They're still waiting. It's like, we'll see you later. And so you still socialize, still come in for whatever.
They're going to have needs as well.
You betcha they are.
And we have one of the biggest needs, of course, is always post-everlasting. When you lose a veteran, you lose one of your members.
What'd you call it? Post-everlasting?
It's post-everlasting.
That's a great phrase.
Yeah, and each of the groups has their own way of honoring their past veterans, but those families still have needs, and whether it's trying to keep up with their benefits, trying to see what local services are available, or just need somebody to talk to at times.
I mean, grief counseling may be a big part of that. I mean, because, I don't know, we always talk about the sacrifices that the service members have and give to the country. Their families are doing the same thing.
Right there with them.
Right, the wives or husbands or the kids, they're all serving. And, in my mom's case, my dad was mostly in the reserves. But, my mom, when she first married him, she had to leave family and friends behind and go to North Carolina, and then occasionally he was stationed in Fort Benning. And so, just back and forth. And that's the kind of thing that sometimes we need to remember is the families also serve.
Yeah, the active duty part of it, like with the Navy, with us, if a ship would deploy, we had ombudsman programs, so they could, the wives or family could always contact the ombudsman and update and find out things. And of course, there's always a big working relationship with active duty with the Red Cross. But you'd be surprised how many families can also go to the veterans groups with the VFW and American Legion if there's emergency happens, something, with the house or whatever. So we've always been able to take care of her.
Right. Well, okay. What else we got? Okay.
This is Andy. You want to?
Andy, this is Andy here, and he's done a lot for the community. Starting giving back to the community.
Andy
At this present time, he's going through some medical issues himself, but I know a lot of times he's the hot dogs and stuff at the lake and popsicles. He does a lot for the youth, and he's been one of the ones been the backbone of that VFW for a long time.
Do you have younger members as well? Or is that you always try to recruit recent service members?
Yes, we do. We try to recruit. We go out just like this Crowley night out. We were set up there, and we're trying to do what we can do to recruit.
Because you got to keep the group moving forward, and so that's kind of a image that I'm sure that it's not just for World War II or Korea or Vietnam veterans, but it's people that fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and other places.
Yeah, we get our Cold War veterans.
Right.
We got Iraq, Afghanistan, Cold War terrorism. You got to remember too, though, Brad, that a lot of our younger veterans, their focus now is family.
Right.
They've done their time in service. They're coming home. The soccer games, the baseball games.
Sure.
That is a key part of their thing.
Well,
this one thing in this picture here, though, is when Andy came into the post with that, this is actually the uniforms he wore while his time in service in Vietnam. And his boots and fatigues there, when he was on the helicopters, that's what he had to wear, part of his day-to-day uniform. Kind of unique.
Okay. And what's next here? Okay. Is that the Railroader Stadium?
No,
That there is part of the
that's Cleveland State Park.
State Park. Okay.
State Park,
It looks similar to what the Cleveland Railroader Stadium is, but there you go. It's a state park. So, and I guess there's members and their wives and family outfits. Bring the grandkids. Bring Nana can bring her kids, whatever.
They can do that, but what this was for, and Todd's been
popsicles
out
there.
there.
I think they're passing out popsicles.
Everybody that comes down to the state park, there's when they have the open house at the state park, community day, VFW will do hot dogs, and then during the year, they'll come out there and they'll set up in front of one of those pavilion areas, or this is that family meeting area that's
Right.
out there by the lakeside, and they give out the popsicles or water, whatever, and it's just an opportunity for the veterans to continue to serve the community.
How about that? Okay. Cake?
This was,
Birthday cake for America?
In April, May. Excuse me. We celebrated 15 years of having American Legion back in Burleson. We've been chartered for 15 years with the current post.
Well, my diabetes is already kicking up just looking at all that, all that white icing, but whatever. And the nurse in you is just shaking your head. Like,
It was pretty fun. We had some local folks that came out with us and celebrated with us, so it was really nice.
Well, I know y'all do stuff on Veterans Day. We're going to make sure we cover that pretty well. It is on the 11th, but you also said there's something that's Saturday in Burleson.
Yeah, there should be another picture of that here.
Here.
So
There you
City
go.
of Burleson's Military Veterans Tribute, that's going to be on November the 8th, Saturday the 8th, start at 10 p.m. It'll be down at the Veterans Plaza on Renfro Street. So we're 35 Service Road and Renfro come together in that group of buildings. We have the Veterans Park
It's
there.
called B&G Plaza for those out there.
Right.
And also across the street from the Rim and
Right.
Mambo's Restaurant, Fish City, all
Fish
those.
City, all that.
Yeah,
So,
so-
this year, starting at 10 a.m., we'll get the fire department and we'll do the honor guard. They'll have guest speaker, of course, the mayor. Normally he's there to welcome everybody. But all of veterans and veterans' families, people I've worked with in the past, just want to bring their kids down and say hi to the veterans. It's an opportunity for the community just to come down and we recognize what being a veteran is and Veterans Day is about, but at the same time, if our families come with us or whatever, we just get to share with them, and but it's kind of unique when you have somebody bring their kids up and just say hi to you or say thanks or something. So that's kind of fun.
It really is. And I can't help but say thanks for your service when I see somebody in uniform or wearing hats like y'all are wearing, because it's just almost natural for me, to remember that because of my background and whatnot. And so it was it just something we grew up with.
When you say something about the hats, Brad, several years ago I had somebody get it, and, he was confrontational, we'll leave it at that. But walking around here wearing your hat like you're trying to prove something. No, I wear this hat, regardless if it's one of these or like Deb's wearing, whatever. I'm letting the other veterans know I'm out there. If that hat says American Legion, that hat says VFW, or it just says Navy, whatever, brother, I'm out here. You need some help? Let's talk.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. I'm not out there to say something about service or this or that. I'm out there for my fellow veterans.
Sure.
And then
go ahead,
it also
please.
allows, people to come up. I was at the Dallas VA 2 or 3 weeks ago to get my flu shot, and I have a cap that has Nurse Corps, and I sat down waiting for my turn, and another gentleman sat down beside me, and it just opened up a just conversation with him. He told me about his daughter being a nurse and how she's doing and what she's doing, and just how nurses helped him. And I'm on the back line, but it just gives everybody an opportunity
Right.
to talk to you.
Right. I can't understand why that gentleman would confront you like that. That doesn't make any sense at all.
Some people just,
I'd be surprised. I admire your restraint that you didn't knock a few teeth loose.
those days are over.
Well, I mean, that takes a lot of nerve, but let's move on because before I get all taken all upset.
you'll be fine. I think there's a couple more, and then we'll.
Oh, well, this is the National Night Out but that was a couple of weeks ago, but this is how y'all were out.
Yeah.
If y'all, there's other areas so y'all can get your name out there as well. I know that y'all do the 4th of July parade. My bet is you'll be at the Christmas parade. Also, if you talk to the people that run these farmers markets here in Crowley and Burleson, they're the same people. I bet you could probably get a table out there.
There's been some opportunities. The Friday night bands in the summer.
Right, that's hot sounds of summer or whatever.
Come down and meet with people in the community. The folks at the Historical Museum have been really good to us about being able to stand around out there and meet great people and stuff. So there's always things going on. And but some of the local churches, the local schools, private schools, we all have avenues to discuss with them about things too, because it may be what the American flag means to some of the second or third graders, but it can also be, you as sophomores, juniors, seniors. Here's some programs that you can go for scholarships or grants with, too, that the veterans groups have for offer as well.
Well, I had veterans when I taught history classes, and I had veterans come and speak. I mentioned my friend who's buried out at this cemetery, who passed away a few years ago. He was a Marine vet. And he would talk to my classes, and there's always some knucklehead kid that wanted to hear war stories. He wouldn't tell them that. He would tell them that the day-to-day grunt life of being in service and Vietnam, et cetera, and all this other business. One of the funniest ones I ever had was about late 90s. We're talking World War II in my class, and this girl comes up and says, "You wanted my dad to come talk to you about Okinawa?" And I said, "Oh, really? Was he stationed in Okinawa?" "No, he fought in it." This is a 16-year-old girl. And I said, "Your dad was at Okinawa?" "Yeah, he's 79 years old." I said, "You bet want to meet this guy, and find out his diet and shake his hand, So
sadly, there's not many of those guys left.
No, but and it was a pretty moving speech. And again, a lot of the guys that I've invited or whatever, they don't want to tell these graphic stories. Guys I worked with in the private sector, they don't want to tell stories. They want to basically talk about why they did what they did, right, and how they felt about it, and the day-to-day kind of thing. There was none of this, the more gory aspects of it that the kids wanted. Some of the kids wanted. It's like, anybody asks that question, I'm going to take outside and give them a beating right in front of everybody, because I didn't want that to happen to the veteran. No. And it only happened once or twice. Most kids were very respectful. But I just still remember that 79-year-old Okinawa veteran. Like, what a great source of history this guy was. I don't know what's happened to him, since, but I assume he's passed. But that's a real sad thing. You mentioned losing veterans. It's like, that's living history.
Big time. There's two organizations out there right now that sit with veterans, World War II and Korean veterans, and try to get their stories and talk to them, because we don't want to lose that. And then here locally at Veterans Park, if you go put your brick in down there, you go to the library and get a brick put into the park, they'll do get a history with you and put in a kiosk, so you're kept up with too for the local area, and that's shared with National Archives as well. So our local veterans can tell their story. You get that 5 minutes of what you did and who you are, and that's helpful.
Did I tell you my insurance company would call during the show?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, it's like, okay.
You brought up an interesting conversation as far as veterans when they come back home. Whenever I came back from Vietnam, all I wanted to do was go home, get a job. And what we did, the Vietnam veteran did, we buried it. Well, little did we know, years later, it'd come back on us.
PTSD.
Yeah. And we hid it, it has affected a lot of us.
Oh, absolutely.
But when we come back home, we wasn't welcomed. Okay?
I know that was pretty disgraceful. When I saw the history of it, I was, how old was 11 when Vietnam ended, at least 1973.
Yeah.
All right. And, so I really wasn't clued in on that part of it until I started, becoming a history teacher and studying it. And my dad occasionally would make mention of people that were protesting the war and all this. And, and it kind of bothered him. But this PTSD problem, was just swept under the rug for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I've known a couple of people that have had episodes, or they're going through some sort of therapy of some sort. I mean, yours.
I've had that issue.
Yeah,
and they keep it quiet because, from what I know, that was a weakness, and you hid it, and you never addressed it. And so they had to suffer with it because they didn't know what else to do.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I was like you. I was a teenager, 13, 14 years old, and my brother and brother-in-law were in Vietnam. And then my sister, she was like, she suffered through that. And of course, my parents have passed, but she never in her wildest dreams thought that she was going to have to worry about her baby sister doing what I did.
Right.
But yeah, I know a lot of people that they just like, I don't have any problems.
Well, that's unfortunate because I know that there's a stigma with these kind of issues, or at least there shouldn't be, but there used to be. Maybe there's less of one now, but there was back then. And they would treat it a lot differently. They treat it not as a mental health issue, but as a criminal issue. Because I had an acquaintance I knew in college, or he was older than I, and we went to church together and all that. And he had a PTSD, a severe one, where delusional kind of things, and suffering from hallucinations and things of that nature. And they didn't treat it the same way they do now back in the 1980s.
Back then, you were a wimp.
Well, or or something was wrong with you, So I'm glad that that's.
Well, in the military, even looked on some of those guys as malingerers because what do you mean shell shocked or whatever? You haven't done anything. Day-to-day life in the military is not a cakewalk for a lot of people, and you have to realize that. And what helps out there, but also you are not alone, and you get support, but you also have your rights, and you earned a lot being a veteran. So when those questions come up from our fellow veterans, it's, let's put our mind at ease. Let's work with them what we can. But at the same time, I'm not the expert. Todd's not, Deb's not, but we know the right people to go to as well, so we can also get those questions answered. I will tell you, I'll come back to you or let me call you tomorrow. I'll never tell you I don't know because I want to find the answer for you. And that's what we do through our veterans groups, is to help out our fellow veterans and their families.
So, Mr. Todd, your therapy is through the VA, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so they and so they provide all these kind of services and
yes, they do.
Okay. And
I know back when I was in Stephenville, the VFW there, we had two groups that met. I remember just exactly what day it was, but we started meeting like at 3 o'clock. And then our second group would come in at 5 o'clock, something like that, what we call PTSD group. And we got a lot of help there. And we talked to each other, opened up to each other. But we were the group, when we came home, we didn't talk about it.
Sandy, you mentioned something that, that kind of struck me about, people that didn't actually see day-to-day combat still suffer from PTSD. We had to talk my dad into being buried at that cemetery because, he served, and he went in the reserves about a year before Johnson ramped up the war. And his outfit in Fort Bragg actually, after he left, was shipped to Thailand, because that was what part of their duties was to train their officer corps. So I don't even know if they went to Vietnam. But Dad said, well, I didn't, no one shot at me and all this other stuff. And,
I hear that all the time, Brad.
And I say, Dad, you were there if needed. And that's all that matters. I mean, you were there. You made yourself available for your country. So you deserve this spot. Okay, I'll do it.
Deb's heard it. Todd's heard it. I've heard it. There are veterans who, they won't go to the VA. I didn't do anything. I don't need that. I got a job with the insurance. It's so hard to stress to these guys. You may not need to be certified where you or put in a system where you receive a disability rating. Any veteran who served should be screened for their hearing right off the bat. I mean, if you get money or not, it doesn't matter. Just be there to know later in life that's going to affect you. But, when a veteran says, I didn't do anything, I was just on the ship for 3 years, or my time in the Air Force, I never left the States. You served your country. There's an opportunity there. And when we find out more things like right now, the Marines at Camp Lejeune who were exposed to all the issues with the drinking water, that's Congress finally got involved. That list of bases now is 157 bases that tested for some of those same chemicals. It's going to take congressmen and senators and veterans organizations pushing to say it's time to take care of everyone. So regardless if they served in a combat situation or they were deployed overseas or whatever, they were still exposed to something that can affect them in later life.
Well, the way we explained it to my dad was, you volunteered, you weren't drafted, you made yourself available. You would have gone if they told you to go, and I am not upset that you weren't sent to Vietnam, Dad. You know, I'm okay with that. You know, and it's, you know, if he felt like he missed out on something, you know, I remember talking to my grandfather, who was a World War I veteran. This is back when I was in high school, and he was drafted in. And the story we had, family story we had, he was training in Washington State, and he was supposed to ship out in October of 18, and he got appendicitis, which back then was serious. And so he's in a hospital for a month. And when he was still in the hospital, when Armistice Day came, all right, November 11th, and I asked him, "Do you feel like you missed out, Grandpa?" "Yeah, I missed out on a lot of mad Germans shooting at me. I'm okay." You know. You know.
Yeah, well, what Sandy's talking about, I was at the Houston VA hospital working, and there was a scrub tech with me. He says, "Well, Debbie, have you ever gone to the VSO and gotten service connected?" I said, "Why?" I didn't do anything. And he says, "No, you need to go, just to go over." And it was all because of him that I went over and started my path, I guess.
Well, yeah, I've really enjoyed this. We are running close on time, and Josh has the schedule to keep. Calm down over there. And look at there's your daughter again. I'll just read it for the radio audience. "I've heard and seen stories of younger vets not wanting the pharmaceuticals as their primary vehicle for treatments. Texas Senate Bill 2308, backed by Rick Perry, gives $50 million for alternative treatments." Okay, that's good to know, too.
That started years ago when the VA has a checkered past, unfortunately, and sometimes, "Here, take these pills, you'll feel better." But now, and we've talked in the past, Brad, you know, mental health issues for veterans is our key dynamic, and it's also one of the reasons we have such a high suicide rate in our veterans is they need better mental health abilities to be treated. I hate to use the word treated, but if you just take the time to sit and talk to a veteran, you know, "Hey, how you been? How you doing?" You don't have to ask them what they did.
No.
But if you ask a veteran today, "How you feeling today?" That's an opening for them to talk.
Yeah.
And it just makes for a simple conversation that could lead somewhere.
But then some of it, I mean, working at the Dallas VA, and I've been involved with some of the mental health departments, and it's a pain whenever, because we trade out with UT Southwest. They come over, and you've already told your story to one person, and then you come back a month later and you have a brand new person that you have to tell it all over again.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, when am I going to get forward, because I have to keep on saying what I need to
Right.
They feel
need
like
to
they're
say.
caught in that revolving door. And I was just, you know, we tell our local veterans in the Legion and the VFW, "We're here, brother." So,
Well, I got a couple of charity announcements, if you will,
Sure.
you know, to go over. I don't know what charities are, right? Nonprofits, that's the word we want to use. Next Tuesday is the Burleson Chamber of Commerce Business Over Breakfast. Melissa Miller would love to see you out there. It starts at 7:30 at the Brick. It's going to be catered by the Centennial High School culinary staff. With the kids there really do a great job. And so it's worth going out there. It's over at the Brick, and remember the chamber. It's free. If you're not, it's $10, and you can get to know people. Well, you take a picture of it, huh? Okay.
Or I'll forget.
Okay. Well, the chamber is.
Hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I'm a member of the chamber, and I've gotten a lot of benefit from it. And so I recommend any business owner, or they even have nonprofit groups that are part of the chamber. It's not just, you know, so the Legion could join. I don't know if they have a discounted rate. It's up to Melissa to explain it to y'all, but there you go. Also, a big deal coming up at our friends at the Harvest House, the Harvest Brunch on November 6th, 10 o'clock to 11:30. You can see Amber Case and Kelly Alexander on the show on Monday. We're going to be talking about this very thing. It's Thanksgiving time. The needs always ramp up quite a bit during this time because of, people need extra food or whatever. And, you know, I've been doing this show for like 6+ years. And when I originally started doing this show was me, an old history teacher, wanting to rant and rave about current events or whatever else. And I don't get to do that very much anymore because people have thankfully, and I'm glad to do it, have accessed this show to promote their activities. And so I've gotten to know these nonprofit people very well. And I'm telling you, this town is blessed. I'm blessed to be able to sit here and see it on this, you know, global position, I guess. But we have a lot of people that are really working hard for the benefit of this community, as y'all are. So this will be on the radio show at 6 o'clock tonight. I don't know what music you'll listen to, but it's primarily 60s through 80s kind of stuff. It's on TuneIn and Live 365, and I usually put the links on the Facebook. But anyway, I'll let y'all have the last words because I want y'all to be able to kind of summarize. Oh, thank you, Josh. I forgot.
I got you.
88.3 The Journey is having their fundraising this week. This is a big deal. Rich Hooper was on the show on Monday. He would be irritated with me. I forgot. All right. No, he wouldn't. Rich is a good guy, but that's my wife's favorite radio station. You know, it's a Christian radio station out of Keene.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all finish this off. Tell us, summarize what you would like people out there to know, because almost everybody knows veterans, and they may know somebody that needs what y'all are offering. So,
I would just ask that if you have a veteran in your family that doesn't talk or feels secluded, tell them to come see us. Doesn't matter if you're coming to the VFW, you come to the Disabled American Veterans, you come to the American Legion, Marine Corps League, whatever. Say hi, come out and talk to us. And if you need some help, we've got great people here locally now that can help us out. Between Hal Cleveland and Donald Bridge, the Sarge we call him, there are some great avenues to get resources and get started if you need to go to their VA, or if you just need somebody to talk to. Ain't none of us going to stop and turn our back on you. Let's go have some coffee, or let's go grab a beer and let's talk about things. And
what, veterans drink beer? I did not know that.
Brother, that may be
The Vietnam vets got to do that in Afghanistan. That was the number one general rule. We didn't have any alcohol, so it was.
Oh man, ooh, that's rough.
I had good ship captains. They took care of us.
We had near beer.
That ain't beer.
Yeah.
I tried to drink it dry, I just couldn't drink it dry.
Well, thank y'all for showing up.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I hope this somebody hears it and benefits from it. You know.
Yeah, we need some more women to come out there, because it took a lot of guts for me to walk into that VFW that one day, and
Yeah, but she's part of the group now.
Yeah,
So.
she does. Yeah.
you know, the second question I asked, are there any women here?
That's all right.
We do
now,
know we got one now.
But now, I
there's
just listen, and they're a bunch of good guys, and
Yeah.
they can direct. If somebody doesn't know it, they're going to find out.
Well, I'm sure in your active duty service you heard of few words your mama didn't teach you. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but it's all right.
Get older
Well,
and wiser.
it was funny. I was a supervisor in the evening in one of the ORs I worked at, and I was using some language that I guess wasn't appropriate, and my director called me in and says, we know that you've been in the Army. And so
Oh, wait, Mike.
And so that you probably didn't pick this up. You picked this up in the Army.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, no, I worked in the OR. I've already, I knew it a long time ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Army. It was the OR. So it was funny.
Well, thank y'all for what y'all did and are doing now. And I really appreciate y'all coming. I always have Sandy on about every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
So when you got some, y'all are always welcome. You're going to have some spring activities. I know with the hunting episodes.
Yeah, Parks and Wildlife will have some events coming up, and we can come in maybe in the beginning of the year and talk about some events there and go from out.
There you go. In there, nice convo according to your daughter. Thank you so much for your service, and God bless you all. All right.
Thank you, Wendy and Baron and Lily. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all.
All right. And we love you, Josh. All right. Just so I don't want you to feel left out. And so,
Love you, Josh.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
you betcha. And we'll see y'all Monday with Amber and Kelly with Harvest House.